I identify
Okay.
as a woman.
Okay, great.
Luckily I never did anything. Like, I never took testosterone. I never got
Hmm.
breast removal or anything like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Um, I looked into it. I was very serious about it. I realized that it would medicalize me forever, and
That's right.
that's part of the big thing that
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the um, medical industrial complex at all.
Hey, everybody. I caught myself another one. Actually, I've been dying to do an interview with a person like this. So, this is so amazing that this person stepped up to the plate for me. But before I move on, I just again want to just say I really appreciate everybody watching all my interviews and giving me great feedback and being so actually, everyone's being so great to all the people who I interview. So, there's not really a lot of hate, which is kind of shocking on the internet. But that being, maybe we're all doing something right now. So that being said, remember, like, subscribe, the bell thing, that really does help the trajectory of this channel and it's growing every day. So I can't do it without all of you here. So with that, I'm gonna move on to our guest today. And this is Dana, and Dana's gonna introduce herself and then we'll move forward from there. Hi, Dana.
Yeah. Hi. Hi. Thanks, Buck. I really appreciate what you put out there. It's kind of inspired me to speak up more. And I have a lot of friends who are in this ideology, I guess you would call it. And it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to say too much about myself because I'd rather, it's such a, it's so
Yeah.
hard to, I don't want to get canceled. I do have a lot of people that would not appreciate me saying
Yeah.
stuff.
That's right.
And maybe one day I will put it out there a little bit more and, tell about who I am and where I'm from and everything. But for now, I'm going to leave it out because I don't need people finding me. And I live in a very, very liberal place that doesn't agree at all with how I see
Great.
and feel and think about things. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you don't need to give out any of your personal information. That's not important here, and whatever we need to do to make sure that people don't come after you. That's the most important thing. I
If it
always want this
happens, it
to be safe.
happens. I just don't want to
Sure,
accelerate
sure.
that.
No, and also I want this to be a sort of safe environment for my guests, and I don't want you to get piled on. That's not the reason we're having these conversations. But of course, it says a lot to me about our community if you're being afraid to say something when you're going to get piled on. Says we don't have a community on some
Well,
level.
and I guess to make matters, I'm more concerned because I have a small business and it's in my
Gotcha,
livelihood. And so
gotcha.
and a lot of the people that come to my business are
Mhm.
in the trans community. And
Okay.
don't want them to feel like I am against them by any means. I'm
I
a
don't
big fan
think.
of yours, actually. I met you in, um,
Ah.
at a QDoc film fest, and
Oh
I've
wow,
got
that
a
was a
signed poster by you
sweet, thank you. I remember, was that for my documentary, Mr. Angel, or was it
Yeah, I
for
think so.
yeah, excellent. That was QDoc. Yeah, it was a long
Yeah,
time that might have
yeah,
been Seattle or something like that,
something
I
like
think.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But, so yeah, I just cut that
It's
out.
fine, totally
I
fine.
will.
No, 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 you don't have to. You don't have
Okay,
to.
okay. So no, I actually feel you. I'm a business owner as well, and my business was pretty much before all of this happened, specifically about trans. I've after that, I have expanded to other arenas, which is also good, I think, business wise, not to always sort of put yourself in one space because something like this could happen. But it saddens me that we as business owners
Yeah,
have to be fearful of
and you
that.
were just at a convention, I think, for
Yep.
sex
Yep.
toys. Is that right?
Well,
Or
yeah, sort of, and that in cannabis and, it
okay,
was a smoke shop thing, but I'm trying to,
okay,
get smoke shops to sort of see other products besides just, that kind of stuff. So,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it is cool. I mean, I'm all about emerging markets. I think it's very important, especially because there's a lot of LGBT people in the smoke
Yeah,
arena.
yeah,
So that being said, yeah, I'm always trying to find different avenues. I don't wanna be stuck and worried about whether or not my customer base is gonna hate me, which it did. Actually, I lost sales because I decided to speak out, and I decided to just be this person, and I'm lucky that I've been able to do it, you know what I mean, financially. So,
yeah.
they did come after my business, 100% they did. Cancel Buck Angel was a hashtag.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, "You know what? You're actually giving me PR, so you go right ahead, my friends." It took a
All press is
dive, and then
good press. Is that
that's
right?
right, it went back up again, so it's all good, but that being said, I very much appreciate you saying that, and I want also people to hear that. We as business owners or somebody like Dana has to worry about whether or not if she says something, it's going to. And again, I'm also going to ask you. You go by she,
I
her.
do. Yeah.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
excellent.
Mhm.
Excellent. I have to ask that these days, I guess. I don't want to be, it's
You
only
don't
because I
have
don't
to.
want to be, I don't, but I don't want to be disrespectful. So
Oh,
I
sure,
guess
sure.
I'm doing it out of respect more than I don't believe in that stuff, but I just want to sort of be respectful
Yeah,
because,
yeah, I love talking
yeah,
about that sort of thing because other people's opinion of me is none of my business. That's
right
how I
on,
feel about it. Like,
right on.
it's just not. I don't have any
Nope.
control over that, so why would I try? You call you I when people ask me, I say, "Do your best."
There you go. How beautiful is that? That's actually beautiful, and I bet you people don't come, me too. People call me "she" all the time because that's, their own weird stuff. It's not my stuff. I
Right.
know what's going on here. So I think you have a really great head on your shoulder. So let's move on to a little bit about you. So
Oh,
so
sure.
how old are you? And let's talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
42.
Mhm.
I was born and raised until I was about 12 in the South, which I
Okay.
have opinions and thoughts on. I kind of think that the more conservative or homophobic, the more likely people are to transition if
Mm,
they've come from that background. That's just a theory
yeah.
that I have.
Sure.
I could be wrong. Um, yeah, so I was raised in the South. I moved all over. I moved to London and the West Coast as a kid, and went to college in New York City so I could come out uh,
Mhm.
and just be gay.
Mhm.
And I've had facial hair my whole life. When I was teenager, it started coming in, and my mom tried to get me to get it lasered. I went to one laser session, and I was like, "That is not for me. No." She wanted me to be normal girl or something like that, and
Yep.
I tried. I had long hair, and I tried to pass and all of that, and I
Mhm.
don't.
Mhm.
Uh, College
But did you get
was,
teased for the facial hair?
you know, I didn't get teased ever for anything. I tried to
Interesting.
just fly under the radar and be a
Wow.
wallflower. Um,
Great.
yeah,
Great.
I think it was
Great.
some self-preservation of just, I'm not gonna engage with people.
No, that's amazing. That's an amazing skill, actually. Most people would have been freaked out at beginning, or some people would have been saying things to you
Yeah.
about that. So I
It
think,
used to be
wow.
really cool. It used to swirl, right at my jawline, and it doesn't anymore since I had that, so I kind of miss that. It changed it.
Right on. So
Um,
so sorry to cut you off. So
oh,
there you
sure.
are. Yeah, as a kid, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
as a kid, I mean, I would shave it off, and
Mhm,
plucked for a long, long time,
mhm,
and
mhm,
um, kind of, let's see, gosh, it's a long, or lots of back and forths in my story. Um, I moved out to the West Coast. I was like an industrial designer for a while. I was really depressed. I went to
mhm,
Ecuador
mm.
and um, was there for 3 weeks living in the jungle with an indigenous tribe. I
Wow.
ended up doing ayahuasca. This was in 2006 and changed my life. I came back. I could no longer do my desk job and realized how depressed I was. Stopped.
Mhm,
I had been using pot as a way to numb out, and
mhm,
so for me, it's my favorite drug. But I
mhm.
had really been abusing it and just using
Right,
it to numb out. I
right.
quit pot, and then I started drinking more, so I quit drinking, and then I was sober for 10, 12 years. I'm not
Mhm,
anymore.
mhm, mhm,
But the that time period, I was really seeking out something, and I found a teacher. I found a meditation teacher,
mhm.
and I studied with him for 15 years, and that was profound. Um, and that really influenced who I am. I grew up like, had somebody teach me how to be responsible for myself and how to be
Right,
honest with myself. And I think that a lot of people aren't getting that. They don't know how to be honest with themselves first. It doesn't
right.
matter. I mean, it helps to be honest with other people, but
Mhm,
being honest with myself is number one. And so I had a teacher that was really, really hard on me in a way that I needed.
mhm.
Where I don't know where this is all going, how it'll end up. We can't see the future.
That's right.
Sometimes I think kind of I can see both sides of most things.
Mhm.
Maybe this is changing gender roles for going forward, but it's also unfortunately hurting a lot of people.
Right.
And I just watched your interview with the pediatrician that
Mhm,
got uploaded yesterday, and
mhm.
all those things. It's very important that people know how much kids are being impacted and not being able to orgasm or not being able to have a, that's not okay.
No.
Osteoporosis, it's not okay.
Oh,
They can't make that decision. So I'm all on board with that. Interestingly enough, I came out as trans
right
because,
on.
yeah, in 2008,
Mhm,
no, I think it was more closer to 2010. I was
mhm.
deep into YouTube videos of other people, yeah, who were transitioning. Um, and I thought, wow, I'm not a very good woman. I've been told that my whole life. I'm not very good at it. So why don't I just be a man? I came out to my family. My brother
Wow.
was like, well, duh.
Right.
My mom was like,
Totally.
"Oh, I fully support whatever you need to do." And
Wow.
my teacher was actually the one who had me question it because he laughed at me, and he not in a
Mhm.
derogatory way. It was, "Haha, you think gender matters? You have to learn how to play the how to be a man or how to be a woman in this society.
Yes.
So pick one. It doesn't matter." And I thought, well,
Wow.
I'm a little bit of a rebellious person, so fuck both of them.
Right on.
um, but yeah, it's been impacting my life a lot. I struggled with my sexuality
Mhm,
once I found spirituality because
mhm,
I thought the whole masculine coming together with the feminine thing, and I was like, well, I'm obviously masculine, so then
mhm,
I thought, oh, I should be male in order to really come together with a woman in that same way. And
mhm.
strangely enough, my wife is a masculine woman. We're the double gay.
Double
So
K. Right on.
so it really just, we all have masculine and feminine parts of ourselves. It doesn't
Totally.
matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you've
Yeah,
transitioned or not. It's all, and like learning to
yeah,
accept and nourish both parts of ourselves in this
that's right.
society that hates women. It's very, very hard to nourish that feminine side, which is not feminine doesn't mean weak and all of that. It's very
That's right.
strong. Yeah.
Very strong. I think that, God, everything you said, I'm such alignment with you. I also think it's very beautiful what you said about finding yourself and being, I say it all the time. I'm responsible for me. What comes out of my mouth, what I put into the world, I've always take responsibility for my transition helped me do that, right? It really helps me take responsibility for my actions and how I feel and however I chose to transition. As you know, I didn't get the bottom surgery.
Hmm.
And so on some level, I had to connect what you're saying there right now. On some level, I connected my masculine with my feminine. Not that having a vagina is feminine, but on some level it is. And it isn't a bad thing.
Right.
And it doesn't make me feel lesser than whatever that is. But that being said, I think all of this is growth. And it's why I'm very against children transitioning in a way that's medicalizing them, because how can they even have the opportunity to do what me and you have
Hmm.
done and actually find? I think people are always seeking. Do you think that we ever get to a higher consciousness where we're never seeking anymore?
No, it's probably why we're here. It's the fun of it.
Yeah. Right on.
I mean, the struggle of it.
And the fun of it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it, though, because I do think people put it as a struggle, which it is a struggle, but it could be a fun struggle. It's like a puzzle,
Yeah.
right? You can get frustrated with that puzzle because, oh, you can't find that one piece, right? And then you find it and you're like, "Phew, I want to do another puzzle."
Yeah, or you find it for just a brief moment, and then you have to kind of find it again and find it again and
That's
find it
right.
again. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Excellent. So do you identify as trans now? Or you
No, no,
or
no.
no?
I identify
Okay.
as a woman.
Okay, great.
Luckily, I never did anything. Like, I never took testosterone. I never got
Mhm.
breast removal or anything like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Um, I looked into it. I was very serious about it. I realized that it would medicalize me forever, and
That's right.
that's part of the big thing that
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the um, medical industrial complex at all.
I know. Yeah.
My trade is the opposite of that, and so
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
I've always tried natural routes, meditation, massage, acupuncture, chiropractic, naturopathy,
Mhm.
therapy. How can we heal by changing our lifestyle, which means working less or,
Yeah.
doing things to not stress out? Because a lot of our ailments are stress induced. And stress isn't
Mhm.
always bad. Stress helps us grow
Mhm.
and everything, but
Mhm.
the levels of stress that we're under, um, people don't have the bandwidth and to spend time with themselves or to really ask the questions that make life meaningful.
Mm.
Um, and I feel very grateful and lucky that I have found
Wow.
purpose and meaning
That's
without
right.
um, losing myself.
Wow, it's really powerful. And wait, you said you're how old are you again?
42.
42. Yeah, so you're
Hmm.
still a youngster, and
Hmm.
so you've been going with your sort of teacher, your lawyer teacher for 15
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
which is a long time to really work on yourself. And I did a post today on my Twitter that said something to the sense that, which is kind of interesting that we're talking that it took a long time for me to get to this level of not only confidence but feeling very okay with myself. And it's not something that just comes overnight. It takes a lot. And I worked on me. I did not work on you. I worked on me and my inner self, my brain. Transsexualism is in the brain. That's what people are misunderstanding here. All of this stuff is a second thing that comes from it. But you got to start with this. See, you proved it to me because you started with this and then you just realized I'm actually just a woman and I'm totally okay with that.
Hmm.
And I think it's such an important message that I really want young people to see you. I mean, gosh, they need people like you right now because,
It's so funny though. They assume that I'm trans. When I walk down the street,
of
people
course.
people assume that I'm trans. And so
Oh
it
my
feels
God.
very it's
Wow.
ever since 2014, people started asking pronouns. And
That's
I
right.
had a very strong reaction to it of like, why are you only asking me this? You're
Hmm.
not asking other people. It's not across the board. If you ask everyone, fine. But if you're only asking people who don't fit, there's
Oh,
something wrong there. And
that
I will often, if I have an opportunity, I will tell people that. I'll say, this is, you're only asking me because I don't look like what a woman should
brilliant.
look like. And I don't appreciate that. That means that's telling me on some level that I'm not a very good woman.
Wow.
Um,
That
and
is
I,
such a great statement.
yeah, and that's not okay. Um,
No, it's not because so you see that there's a lot of hypocrisy, so much of it attached to this. I consider it an ideology on some level, because you just made such a brilliant point right there. They're not asking everyone else in the room. They just see you because they see a butch,
yep.
right? And they're not, whatever that means. I mean, you full on can pass that as a male. There's no doubt
I have
about
enormous boobs, so there's that. But
That's okay though. People sometimes just forget that part.
they do,
They do,
they
and they
do.
just see your face, and they're
Yeah.
just like,
And when I have a really tight fade, then it's like, who are you?
"Oh no, you're a total dude for sure." I mean, you're very handsome, and
Thank you.
I think it's very important to have handsome women. I actually
Yes.
do. I wished I could have stayed a butch woman, but I
Yeah.
just, it just didn't work for me, and it's
Well, and it's
okay.
really unfortunate. My barber is even talking about taking tea and transitioning, and they got top surgery, and I'm
Wow,
thinking, we need people like us, please. We need
that's
people like
right.
us.
That's right.
And I try to talk without much energy or too much
Mhm.
attachment, but it's
Mhm.
hard because I really do care about her or them, and I know
Yeah.
that it's likely a temporary solution to a different problem.
There you go. Why do you think did it
Or a
just come
permanent
out of
solution to a different problem, excuse
well,
me.
is it permanent? Because sometimes it's
Sure,
not. We have detransitioners, right?
detransition.
I'm wondering, so how long have you known this person, your barber?
Oh
Long
gosh,
time?
4 or 5 years, something like that.
Okay, so during that 4 or 5 years, did that person ever say that they wanted to transition, or was this
I
recently?
asked them recently. I had a feeling,
Mm,
I think, well, I was putting some things together that I had seen, and
yeah,
I just asked directly.
yeah.
And also, they told me about a dream that they had, and so we were talking about that sort of thing.
Okay,
Um,
I see.
yeah,
So do you think there's influence now, a big influence for masculine women to transition?
absolutely, absolutely. It's
Wow.
everywhere, especially where I live. It's everywhere.
Saddens
There are
me.
so many trans people, and
Yeah.
I can see how it's breaking some of the binary, and it's breaking some of the gender roles that
Mhm,
people unfortunately have that have really hurt people for
mhm.
centuries.
Yep,
And so I can see some of the good in it, but I also see how much it says, oh, in order to be a woman you have to look like this, or in order to be a
that's
man you have
right.
to look like this, and that's where I have a problem.
So do I. by the way. That's why I don't think kids can make those choices.
Yeah.
Kids are always they've always played with gender. I mean, God, I'm 60. Back in the 70s when I was growing up, oh God, kids were tomboys all over the place. It wasn't, I had a boy on the street who was totally feminine, right? But most everyone from my childhood grew up to just live in their biology, and there wasn't an issue. It's been recent that we have this idea that if a little kid has long hair, he must be a girl. It's shocking, don't you think that we're
It
weirding
is.
out on kids?
It's definitely weirding on our kids, and I think for adults even, people are, in my community,
Yeah.
very much applauded for doing this thing, and there's such a push for
Wow.
what's it called? Where the type of therapy that they're doing,
Affirmative
affirmative
therapy. Yep,
therapy,
that's right.
and you've talked about that
Yep.
before on this
Mhm,
podcast or show,
mhm.
that being questioned was really important to you
That's right.
becoming trans, and like, oh no, this really is who I am because I had pushback, because I had people asking me.
Yeah,
um
that's
yeah,
right.
I was wondering, did you get bullied or teased as a kid?
Well, you know what's so interesting is I did, but I grew up in with a dad who was like, "Don't take any crap from anybody." I have 2 sisters, an older and a younger, so, there are 3 girls, and my dad made us all like my sister became a cop, my other sister is like type A, owns her own, big $1,000,000
Wow.
business. We all grew up as girls that were like, "We're not taking that." So, yeah, I got teased, no doubt about it, but I learned how to fight back, and then this teasing would stop, right? So I learned to sort of control that. 100% I
Hmm.
got bullied for being a
Mm-hmm.
masculine girl.
Hmm.
There's
I
no
must have had
doubt.
I mean, I because I wasn't bullied, and I
Mm,
think that saved me in a lot of ways.
that's
I
right.
also know that there's so much sexual abuse that causes people to really distance themselves from their bodies, and then
That's right.
that so there's
That's right.
comorbid conditions that are happening.
So many that were never touched on with me. I started therapy really at 16 because I was going through a lot at 16, and really back in the day, there's none of this exist, right? Not even the internet when I was growing up. Thank God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that being said, I wouldn't doubt that there are things that probably my therapist didn't touch on. But remember, I transitioned at 30. And I went through lots and lots of, not to say, I think everyone's different in the reason they transition and why they transition. I personally don't care if an adult chooses to make that choice at this point. I feel bad because what you're saying, I think some of the adults are being pushed into this space because they think it's better than where they are now, but they're not understanding it's not necessarily better. This isn't easy. I don't like when people are like trans joy. No, you are, and that is not true. This takes a lot of work to live. I have to medicalize myself. I have to shoot testosterone all the time. I have to do all the things to make myself sort of look this way. And you're always thinking of it.
Yeah. Have you ever gone off testosterone or wanted to?
Nope, never have and never wanted to. The doctor said I could lower my things. I said, nope, I'm perfectly okay with how I am. I'm 30 years now on testosterone. I've had
Mhm,
major, one was atrophy, but other than
mhm.
that, I haven't had a lot of major problems. I think maybe because I'm really healthy. I take care of myself. I work out. I stop drinking. I smoke weed, but I don't really, and I did a lot of drugs prior to this, a lot of drinking, a lot of, hence the teeth.
Mhm.
Caught up to me, all the methamphetamines I did
Oh,
30
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago. So
But
so
that
no,
was
those are great questions, and I appreciate those questions because I do think people will think I'm a hypocrite on some level. And like,
hmm,
no, I don't think anyone should not change as an adult. I think you
right.
should, but I don't agree with how we're doing it today. I don't think you just know you're trans.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things, like you just said, comorbidities. It could be autism is now the big thing, right? So you might just be autistic and dealing with that and not necessarily wanting
Mhm.
to transition. I think
Yeah,
transitioning, saying you're trans is different than transitioning taking hormones and surgery.
very true. Yeah, there's a lot of, non-binaries here,
There you go.
and that's, where does that leave us? Or
Well, it reminds me of queer. So remember, again, I'm going dating myself. We had, gender fluid back in the day. We had non-binary people. We just called it something different. I
Mhm.
think that's always been in our community where people didn't want to sort of say I'm a male or a female, right?
Yeah.
Queer was a big word back in the day too, and I think people were walking that line of masculine, feminine. But now
Yeah.
non-binary, I think, has taken over the trans community.
Yeah. Yeah. That you're right about queer, and it anybody could be queer. You could just call yourself that for any reason at all.
That's right,
Um,
which I don't agree with because it's a gay word and it means
yeah.
you have same-sex attraction. And if you're
Yeah.
not having sex or having an attraction to the same sex, then you're not queer.
Right.
I do think lots of straight people are calling themselves queer, which I do
Yeah.
have an issue. I don't know if this makes me an old fart.
No, I don't think so. I wonder that about myself too, but I recently got the book 1984 out of the library, and
Excellent.
when words stop meaning what they are, what love and hate and war and all those things, it's very important that we know what they mean. And when we
That's
take that
right.
meaning away, that's when we lose ourself in within society.
Oh my
Um,
god, it's so powerful because you're right. I mean, I understand words change, meanings change, but there are some meaning of some words we cannot. Biology is extremely important. My biology is extremely important to me. I'm not trying to misrepresent myself here, by the way. I think people think I'm trying to trick people. Trick? I'm not trying to trick anybody. I've been very honest, but that's why this new idea of trans, that biology is a social construct. Do you know how dangerous that is
yeah,
on so many levels when
so
we start
many.
denying that. Like,
Yeah,
what? You can be a woman and look like Dana
yeah.
and walk the world happy. You seem like such a happy, well-adjusted human being.
Yes, yes. And for some reason, I don't know if this is your experience, but I feel like it's more okay for men to be feminine than it is for women to be masculine.
100%.
And it's just
Yep.
I don't understand that
Yep.
at all. And I know that it's hard for men who are feminine because they get rejected, and
Yep.
people are violent,
Yeah.
more so with men. But
That's true.
yeah,
No,
have
that was
you?
my experience, actually. I felt like I got oh gosh, I got beat up physically for being a masculine
Yeah,
woman. It's not easy. I very much have a lot of,
yeah.
compassion for you. It's hard to walk that line, and I think that's why people change, transition
It
now.
absolutely. You just
Yeah.
said walk that line. My mom didn't like the way I walked when I was a kid. It was too masculine. And I'm like,
See?
sorry. I'm sorry for
Sorry, I'm
existing."
not this is how I walk. Like,
Like,
no, but wow. So you're the one who's breaking the binary, by the way, not the
right.
people who are like me. I didn't break any binary. I went with
Exactly.
the
But it's
binary.
so bizarre because I'm not trying to break the binary. I'm just trying to be myself.
That's
Other
right.
people really are trying to break the binary, and I don't think that we can do anything
Yeah.
by forcing other people. I think that we only can change ourselves. That's
Yeah.
the only place that change can actually happen is inside of ourselves for any kind of external change to happen. And so I'm not on board with people. I mean, I am on board because I'll call anybody by whatever they want me to call them,
Mhm.
but I don't see it the same as they do because it's very much somebody's forcing me to do something that
Yep.
is not that change hasn't come from them. People call me they all the time, and I don't want them to, and I'm not going to
Wow.
correct them. It's fine.
Because
It's just
it's too much work. It's my emotion. It's like,
it
why?
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I really think that that's also powerful because when people just do that, it's their space putting it. But I'm all in alignment on you. I do not believe that you can force somebody to. I don't force anybody to take on. If they want to call me a she and they always be a she, that is completely okay if it makes you happy, friend. I don't need your validation. I think we're teaching young generation that this validation. If the whole world doesn't bend over for you, then they're transphobic. Like, what world do you live in? And guess what? It's forever going to be like this. You're not
Right.
going to change it. So you're going to be angry and mad at the world. The transition made me happy, by the way, my friend. I was angry prior to the
Mm.
transition. Now I'm just a happy tranny. That's what I don't see in the youth. Why do you think they're not? I don't know how you see it, but I see a lot of anger and frustration.
From the trans community,
Yeah, from a younger
from
trans
younger.
space, yeah.
I
Do you
think
see
I
that or
see
not?
an entitlement. I don't know if I
Mm,
see the anger
mm,
so much,
okay.
but definitely,
Mhm.
I really feel that we're in our culture. We're so poor spiritually or community
Gosh,
wise or
true.
however. I don't care if people relate to my use of the word spiritual or whatever,
Mhm, mhm.
but community.
Yeah,
And we are very poor in that sense, but we have so much stuff.
Gosh.
And
Wow.
I the
Wow.
parents, our parents are children. They aren't able to parent us properly. And so our whole nobody is taking responsibility. Nobody's actually able to have a honest conversation or to
Yep.
be self reflective or
Yep.
have critical thinking. This has all been taught out of us, and it's concerning. I don't,
Yep.
you know, I worry about getting canceled because I really don't want to have my voice silenced, and I feel like I have a lot to offer,
You
and
do.
it's a scary thing to be riding that. What's that? Kathleen Stock or something like that. Her
Oh,
name.
I
She
love
got fired.
her. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's awesome. I'm friends with her, Professor
Oh,
Stock.
cool.
I'm very good friends with her. I love her. I think she's badass, and yeah, she got I mean, how dare. Oh, man, I get so mad every time I think about it. If people don't
Yeah.
know, I'll put some links here at the but honestly, that woman is powerful. She got totally canceled and had to quit from the university. I think it was
Yes.
Cambridge, was
Yes.
it, or
Yes. Yes. You're right.
Oxford.
She quit instead of getting fired.
Because
But
the
yeah.
whole trans community came at her when she said,
Hmm.
"I'm not gonna play your game."
Hmm.
And she has every right to do that as a human being and as a
Yes.
person. We're supposed to be having a civilized society. That's not civilized when you pitchfork,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
don't take her class.
Right. Right. They're doing.
What?
People are doing the same thing that they, said about. You can name any large oppressive group,
That's right.
communist China or
That's right.
Nazis or whatever.
That's right.
All of that is the same, and if we do that to each other, that's, I think, very
Yes.
important. Where you're coming from is very much a place of love, and
That's right.
we're not
Thank you.
here to hurt anybody. We're not
Nope.
here. It's just like, please, let's have a dialogue. Let's have a conversation. Can we talk about this, please?
Wow. Wow, because they're being so what I see as an elder and an older person in
Yes.
this community is I see these kids are being taught this behavior from higher ups, and those are adults who are being very disingenuous about what they want from this. And they have created an ideology around my disorder, which I find to be very upsetting to me because now we have a thing called detransitioners.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
And I don't know if you follow or see any of them. I'm
I
friends
do.
with many of them because my heart goes out to them. They should have never, ever been put in that space. So I see something very bad happening from an ideological stance of what it means to be trans is nothing more than a mental disorder. You fix it and align yourself and you go and become a astronaut and whatever you need to be. It shouldn't be what you are. It's what you do. Right?
Hmm.
It's what you
Mm.
do. I'm not trans. I'm a transsexual, which is a person who has a mental disorder, big deal, right? Many things, and you fix it by taking medicine and move over. But these kids are being taught something completely different than what I am.
Yes, that's so important. I'm glad you said that because I am still learning a lot of those things. To
Yeah.
me, uh, that distinction of, oh, you're not trans. Say it again. Like
Uh,
you're a trans.
I'm a transsexual. I'm not
Yes.
trans. I'm buck. What
Right.
trans is what I do, right? So it's
Yes.
my mental disorder. My mental disorder is transsexualism. As
Right.
you notice, they took that word off the table, right? You're not allowed to even call yourself a transsexual, or
Hmm.
that's antiquated and a slur. And I'm like, but wait, you people are such hypocrites. Like
Hmm.
you're allowed to call yourself whatever you want, but the minute somebody else does, that's why I can continue to poke holes. I mean, it makes me sad that I have to push against them, but I have to. If I don't, then we as a community and a group of humans won't understand something very bad is happening here. So it's
Yes.
what you do. You transition to become. I'm back in the world, my friend. I walk the world happy with as a dude, and no one ever even questions that on some level. And that's the whole point of the learning your disorder. It's like with anything, you learn you have autism, then what? You can figure out why you're so all over the whatever's happening, right? Any
Yeah.
diagnosis is important. It's how you fix the problem.
Yes. Yes. I have such a different viewpoint of it because I want to get to the root of why do we have so much more
Right.
autism? Why do we have so much more of this ADHD and all the things that are
Why do you
happening?
think? Why do you think?
I think it's because we're disconnected from the earth. I
Mhm,
think we need to get back in touch with our animal nature and
mhm,
our connection to the ground and the trees, and
mhm.
um,
Good.
we're we're not better than the animals. They're just as alive and present as we are. The trees
Yeah.
are incredible. It's really important that we get back to that
Yeah.
and spend time outside and not staring at screens, and
There you
connect
go.
with other people, and um,
That's right.
be vulnerable and have make mistakes and do all the human things. Um, and we're so disconnected from that. We get all of our food is in a package, and all of
Right,
our
of
walls are
course.
square, and we
Yep.
can't even see properly anymore. So I
Mhm.
just maybe I'm an idealist of wanting. I wouldn't call myself a Luddite, but I do think.
I think we all should be Luddites at this point.
Well, interestingly enough, the history of Luddites is they were very good with machines, but they decided to break them because they were being taken advantage of. They were being
Wow.
asked, the people were being asked to act like machines, and they were saying, "No, we're not machines. We need
Oh,
breaks. We need a 40-hour work week or less." Frankly, I think that 40
wow.
hours is a lot. But yeah, the history of that is fascinating.
Wow. Well,
Uh,
they got it. They saw it before all of this
they did.
because you just hit it on the head. I'm a firm believer of that. That's why we see a lot of the young people just going off the rails. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't stand TikTok. I won't even touch it. It's so toxic and nasty. But that if you just can watch them, these poor kids, I feel sorry for them. They're just like spinning out and they all trying to top each other. I can see it. They're all trying to be either more trans than that one or more this one than that one, or I have more problems than you. And it feels like it's become this sort of who's more sick than the next person kind of
Yeah.
space. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's very dangerous.
It's very
It's
dangerous.
my
Yeah. Get
God.
outside, spend some quiet time with yourself.
There
Those
you
things.
go.
Be uncomfortable. Be
There you go.
uncomfortable.
No, it's so true. They don't wanna be uncomfortable. That's why I said it takes a long time to get I went through a lot of uncomfortability in my life before I got here, right?
Yes,
I'm
and you
sure
were
you do.
you were new
Ugh,
to it. I mean, everybody was probably like, "What the hell are you doing?"
they
You
hated
probably
me.
got such pushback.
They hated me.
Oh my
That's
god.
why today the hate is a joke it's a joke to me.
Yeah.
My whole gay women's community hated me, my friend.
Yeah.
They were like, "You're a
Jeez. Oh, I'm so
traitor.
sorry.
That's disgusting." Back in the day, it hurt my feelings, but I was like, today I look at it like it's a reason those things happen to me. I'm able
Yeah.
to be this guy and not worry about being canceled.
Yeah.
That's why I actually wanna give you this. Don't worry about being canceled, friend. You're not going to be. You have such a beautiful soul. The
Oh,
universe
thank you,
loves
Buck.
you. I can tell.
Thank you.
I can actually tell. You actually are a very powerful human being, and
Thank
the
you.
work you've done on yourself is power. I can feel it through the screen here. I think you have a lot to give to this world that we need you. There's a reason
Thank
me and
you.
you are together right now. I really do think your voice is needed at this time, probably more than ever in your life, I think. I think we
Oh,
need there are butch kids out there and butch women who are struggling with their identities because they don't have any sort of representation.
yes, and it
I
makes
don't
me
want
so sad that they
oh,
don't see me. They don't
they don't
see me.
see you.
They assume that I'm trans, and I'm like,
That's right.
"Oh, no, no.
That's
No,
right.
no. I am, uh, and I'm not even that butch."
You're pretty butch.
Well, I'm
You're
very
pretty
in touch
awesome
with,
butch, dude. You
like,
look awesome, man.
oh, thank you. I'm not trying to. I'm just being myself. I like short hair. I like the sun on my scalp. I don't want to shave. I'm not going to pretend like I don't
Don't.
have facial hair. I just want to be. My top value is authentic. I just want to be
That's
authentic,
right.
and
Beautiful.
it's you've kind of inspired me to come out a little bit here. I own a float shop, so we do sensory deprivation and
Wow, I'm
massage
coming.
therapy, and so it's
Oh,
really good for
wow.
going within. It's really good for learning how to meditate and getting that time with
Yes.
yourself and really connecting with yourself. I'm a
Wow.
big proponent of connecting with your body. Your body
That's
is the
right.
thing that this is the interface we have with this world.
Yeah.
Learning to love it is so important because you can change it. That's great.
Mhm.
Do the things you want to do to change it, but either way you're going to have to learn to love it. Well, you don't have to, but it's better that way.
Well, clearly, I mean, I'm not solid man. I never will be, right? And I learned to love it. And I learned to say, "Hey, wait a minute. This is who I am and the kind of person I am. It's the best thing I ever did." You know what I mean? I didn't necessarily conform to what a man is. I don't have a penis, so I did
Right.
not conform, and I've always talked about my vagina, like, forever. I'm so happy I didn't get rid of you, my friend. But that being said, what you're doing, oh gosh, man, what you're doing is so we need that connection back. These people are
Yeah.
losing their connection to who they are. They're seeking. You and I both know that. They are
Yes, they
seeking
are
something,
seeking.
oh, that they're not gonna get,
Yes,
that they're
they're
not
not gonna
gonna
get it
get.
that way. No,
Nope,
there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. You gotta go the tough through, be uncomfortable. It's a dark night of the soul. It's all of
that's
those
right,
things, and
that's right.
you can't run away from it.
No,
You can't take a pill to make it go away. You can't take a shot. There's nothing that's gonna make a person feel better about getting rejected. There's nothing.
that's
You're
right.
gonna have to just be okay with it. I love getting rejected. I'm like, thank you. You know how to say no. I appreciate that.
Oh god,
You
you are
know?
such a breath of fresh air, my friend. I'm not kidding. I try to say it all the time to these kids. You're gonna get misgendered for the rest of your life,
Yep.
whether you like it or not. So what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Completely hate the world? No, you're gonna just let it go over. And
Yeah.
it's like so you just said it. You just
Yeah.
let it go. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Well, and I think for me, meditation really helped me learn how to bring those parts of
Yeah,
myself that got
yeah,
disconnected back
right,
home, back to myself. And
right.
I think there's a lot of us who've been so disjointed, or the parts we've
Mhm,
had to cut away parts of ourselves in order to
mhm,
sit at a desk at school or
right.
follow instructions and do what you're supposed to do. And really, we're meant to learn and play and love and
Mhm,
live, and we're not encouraged or allowed to do that. And so those we
yeah,
get splintered off, and coming back to that is uncomfortable. Being
that's right.
It's just uncomfortable to have to bring those parts back and say, oh, that's a grief that I missed that part of
Mhm,
me for so long. And so it's like, oh, I'd rather just deny the whole thing happened
that's right. No,
and
no, that
keep busy.
but we teach that just in general, like, we just teach such basic surface things. If you take your boobs off, everything will be okay, right? If you do this, everything will be okay. No, it won't. It
Hmm.
will never be okay because
Hmm.
you didn't start here. And that's why I think what your message is so important, because we could actually save people from taking these physical, drastic, irreversible, because they keep saying it's reversible. None of this, what you see, is ever can I go back to being the person I was before?
No, and they talk
So
about it as such a minor surgery, even just top surgery or double mastectomy. It's cutting through that much layers of fascia.
that's
As a
right.
body worker, like, I have friends who have transitioned who no longer can feel his thumb, and he's a massage therapist and he can't feel his thumb because something went wrong during the
Of course it did.
the
Everything
surgery.
is connected.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
fascia, this is something people don't talk a lot about, the fascia. I had,
Yeah, so connective tissue is the number one type of tissue in your body. We think it's
yeah,
blood or bones or
yeah,
muscles, but it's actually
right,
connective tissue. And connective tissue, when
right.
you look at it under a microscope, it looks
Yeah,
like a spider web that
that's
has
right.
hollow tubes, and the hollow tubes are filled with water. And when they are dehydrated or there's scar tissue, they get um, tangled up, and so your
Yeah,
body can't. That part can't move as well, and so
that's
you
right.
can manually line it back up, kind of like grains of wood,
Uh-huh,
um, so that that tissue will work better.
uh-huh.
But surgery or being, not moving your body can really make that tissue or being dehydrated. Drink your
Okay.
electrolytes, everybody, not
Right
Gatorade.
on. No, great, great. Please say it all, because I'm telling you, there's people. I was suffering with lower back pain for such a long time, and then I found a great body therapist who came
Mhm.
and gave me gua sha.
Yes, I
Changed
get gua
my
sha
life.
too. Love
Oh
it.
my god, I love you.
Yeah, my
That okay,
shoulder.
anybody who doesn't know what gua sha is, also put links here, because I'm telling you, that stuff took my pain away.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like that tissue that's fibrous that gets knotted up because of trauma, or it's immobile for whatever reason.
Yeah,
With gua
yeah,
sha, you're taking a tool and you're scraping it, and it's kind of looks like a bruise afterwards, and it's pretty
that's right.
uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
then the tissue starts to straighten out, and then that part can move again. Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah. Yeah. And for anybody who's having difficulty with their body, work out, do something physical. It's really going to
There you
help you
go.
get present in your body.
That's
I
right.
love being strong. I
I
love going to the
know.
gym and working out. It's like,
Oh, it's the best. It's my
yeah,
therapy. Besides my
yes,
actual therapy, it's my other therapy. If I don't go
same.
to the gym, I feel so, like, just
Yeah.
but that being said, you do body work, which is
Yes.
so amazing. That's again, I can see that connection there.
Mhm.
And I think we're missing that in our community. I think more people who would start to really understand this and how they can be without doing all of that. I just think there's a lot of, mental stuff going on. I won't call it necessarily mental illness, but there's just a lot of disconnect from
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
mental
Getting the
space.
mind and body on the same page is such a powerful way to heal. And people think that I just it was a meme or some kind of thing I saw on the internet and I really loved it, but we don't heal just so that we can handle more trauma. We heal so that we
Mm,
can feel joy. And that
brilliant.
feeling joy when you're used to trauma is gonna be uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, it is, let me tell you.
Learning how to be happy is like the most foreign thing. You push it away, and it's like,
That's right.
then it's this push pull. Like, what am I trying to do?
Well, I think that that just says a lot about what's going on. I think that, when people feel like just because 'cause they're masculine, they're trans, but, they're also being have you ever been told that by your peers that you're
Told that I'm
trans?
trans.
Yeah. Like, do they say, "Well, maybe you're trans, maybe you're" you know
I think they've said that in on. I hear that as a subtext when they ask me
Okay,
my pronouns.
I see.
And
Okay.
especially when it first started in 2014, I
Mhm.
remember in my office and a client asked me, "What are your pronouns?" And she was so awkward about it. It was, and I was taken aback, and I was just like, "Oh, she, her." And but it was really bothered me. It got under my skin, and I had to
Mhm.
think about and feel it out. And every time after that, it bothered me, and I would look at it and try to like, is this my thing? Does this mean I need to transition? Because I couldn't tell the difference between if it
Mhm.
was my own issue with myself and not being comfortable being a woman or if it was a societal thing being put on me and I could not distinguish that
Wow. They were
and
mixing you up. Do you feel like they were sort of
they were
mixing you
saying,
up?
"Oh, you're probably trans." So yeah,
Yeah,
I've had
see?
people, they just assume that I am, and I don't mind that. I think it's a beautiful community, it's beautiful. I have
Sure.
tons of friends,
Yeah.
but it, it it caused me to question myself, to
See,
have people
that's my
question me. Yeah.
point. So I talked to a lot of younger people who said that their peers would tell them, "Oh, you're trans. You're
Yes.
trans. You're trans." So I'm thinking, but why and when would
Man,
we feel the need to tell somebody just
one of
because of
my
their
favorite comedians has been doing that, saying to people, and
who?
I stopped following her.
Do you know? Do you remember her
Ashley
name?
Gavin,
Actually, I'm gonna
um,
look her up.
she's a
Sounds
lesbian. She's
mhm.
hilarious, but she's just very much, and it's that ideology. It's she's just on that train. I don't think she's ever thought about it. She just is affirming. She's affirming of people in her world and life. I just went to see Gina Yashere, um, who's
Okay.
another comedian. She's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, right on. A
Uh,
gay is she gay?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I know some people think they're doing the right thing by affirming everybody by doing this and doing that, and I get it, and I think that, that just means you're trying to be compassionate, but I'll tell you as an older trans person, we don't need so many allies right now. What we need is for the allies to just kinda move over a little bit. This is a very personal space, and I don't like that trans has been politicized on so many levels, and it's
yeah,
being used in a way that it's like, we gotta get back to the original space of what trans is and why it really is a lifelong decision to d it's not trans joy, and I'm trans, and I wear buttons and flags, and I'm 10, I'm trans. It's actually shocking to me because this isn't a life of luxury and ease. It really isn't. I
yeah,
mean, it's a great space I'm in, don't get me wrong, but I did try to live as a butch woman for many years, and it probably would have been easier for if I just stayed on that road, and just let myself but I couldn't. I just couldn't do it, but I
yeah,
really made an effort, and I don't think we're giving kids enough time to take this space and say,
yeah.
"I need time to think about it."
Part of me feels like this is a distraction from bigger things that
Mm,
are bigger issues that we need to be paying
mm,
attention to. I
interesting.
am reticent to I need to talk about it because it affects me so much. I need to
Mm,
talk about it with my friends and with my wife and like, "Oh my gosh, this happened today," or
right,
but
right,
it is such a distraction and it actually prevents me from making progress in other areas of my life because
right.
thinking about this and talking about it so much when I think there's bigger issues. Like we're
Big
so,
we have a
yeah,
lot of issues to talk.
yeah.
No, I'm the same way with my partner, it's like next thing you know, we're just, like, talking about it again. Finally, we said, "You know what? It's off limits. We're not gonna talk about this trans stuff anymore. We're just
Yeah.
not." Because it just can kinda become a little heated, so but we have different opinions about certain things, and I'm like, "Why are we wasting our time on this?" Like, it's my job on some level now, right? I have
Oh
to
yeah,
just
we need people like you to speak up, and I'm so appreciative, and I
no,
think
no,
this is the
I
right
hear you,
place.
but I
Yeah.
have to disconnect from it, my friend, and when I'm done with this interview, I'm done, I'm out at the gym. I'm like, I you have to, you can't make this your whole life, but I
Yeah.
totally see what you're saying, it's like, it just becomes because it's become such a huge
Did you
um,
find when you transitioned, I've noticed this with friends who've transitioned that they, I'm wondering if you felt like you did this. I feel like they become very narcissistic and self-centered and like
yeah,
everything is about them. And I'm like,
that's right.
okay, well, I understand that you're going through this thing and learning how to be yourself, and that's wonderful. Um, I want to support that, but it's also that that's I can't have a relationship. It's a one-sided type thing.
That's right.
Um,
There you go. No, it feels one-sided because if I
yeah.
come back and I say, "Well, I don't necessarily agree with you, my friend, like X, Y, and Z." Oh, I'm like, "But wait a minute here. Like, I thought we're supposed to be able to like I disagree with my friends a lot. I have different political ideas, all of it, my friend, but they're still my friends. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna bail on you because you're doing X, Y, and Z. I'm not that hard line.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not the way you live life. If you don't have different idea I love if you saw the dinner, you'd be invited to one of my parties, by the way. And my dinner table is just diverse.
I love it.
So
I
we're
love it.
all just you walk away from it going, wow. That's where we're missing
Yeah.
this idea that I think we're teaching a young. I really do. And I keep going back to the young because you got to remember how old I am, but I do see a disconnect that they're not letting young people go, okay, I'm going to have a conversation with somebody I disagree with. They're not even being taught that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yeah, it's
Why?
completely shut down.
But
Yeah.
why? Why wouldn't we teach young people or your generation to have hard, difficult conversation? Why do
Yeah.
you think that?
Well, this is a little bit of pessimism in me, but I do feel like it doesn't work for the state if they have people who
Mm.
are critical thinkers, then they don't have good cogs in the machine,
There you
so then
go.
people aren't gonna be happy with their sitting at their device and eating their McDonald's, if they
That's
start
right.
to think about things.
There you go.
Um, and
Yep.
so that's unfortunate that I don't love thinking that way because I tend to be a pretty optimistic person, but
Sure.
I think that's reality.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. I do too. That's
yeah,
really what I think. They don't want us to be like
no,
me and you are not good for the
no, 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 no.
program.
They're gonna encourage people to cancel us.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's why we have to say,
that's
"Oh,
why
if
we
I
have to
say
speak up.
this." And it's why we so when the same thing with books. When you start hiding books, I'm like, "But wait a minute here." So,
Yes.
I don't care that you don't want anybody to read Irreversible, whatever, Abigail Schreier's book, which is the completely opposite of what's going on, but we can't, that's transphobic. I go, "Let people figure that out for themselves."
Yeah,
And if you're gonna ban that book, then people are gonna start banning your books, which is
yeah,
exactly what's happening now.
yep,
Right?
yeah,
Each side is like, "Well, watch this, watch." There's no bridge building,
yeah,
and people are blatantly saying, "I'm not building a bridge with you." They say that to me. I'm like, "Well, okay, that's fine. Then you can continue to be miserable, and you won't find a solution." I'm a solution kind
yeah.
of guy, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I
Well, and
wanna
I
live
think
here
that we
with
need
you.
to be careful too. And I'm going to say this as much for my own self of being
Great,
a problem solver.
great.
My wife calls me a solve 'em probler because sometimes I'm
Right on.
I'm trying to fix things a little too much, and so um, I wonder if there's a way that I feel so strongly about things, but you know, do I need to lighten up a little bit and kind of let it play out and see what
Mhm,
happens? I don't know. I don't know. Like it's
right.
very hard for me to let go of this thing because it's important to speak up and but I see both sides of so much. Um,
Yeah, but I can see that about you, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you do have to be like, I am actually hardlined on kids.
yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
I I have tried to change my mind. I really have. I've actually looked into it. And in fact, prior to this, I was okay with kids transitioning. I
Interesting.
was totally okay with it. From the information, right? I met a woman whose kid was trans, who was 5 or 6 at the time, and I had never seen a trans kid. This was like 8 years ago or something, and I was like, "What?" She came to see me speak. She was like, "It's because of you that I'm transitioning." I'm like, "What? What do you mean transitioning?" So I met the kid. He was just like a cool little tomboy kid, right? Anyway, long story short, she did all this stuff, and I started going, "Wait, puberty blockers?
Yeah.
What?" With
Yeah.
no long-term, like, understanding of what that means. That's
Oh
when I
my god,
actually
Buck.
was
I
like,
have
"What?"
people come to my shop. There's a guy, trans guy, and he has adopted a kid who left his family because they weren't accepting of him being trans. And so he's been adopted by this trans guy who was raising him as a trans kid. And I'm looking at this kid
What?
just thinking like this is just a little dyke, this is just a little butch woman. And
That's
I,
right.
and
Wow.
so it's my I have so many people who
Mm.
come to my shop and I don't want them to feel unwelcome because
Of course.
it's very important to me that they
Yeah.
know that I unconditionally love people, same as you. You put out that
Yes.
love, it doesn't
Thank you.
matter if I agree with you or not. I love these people.
Yes.
And I think that like how can I help us reconnect with ourselves so that we can heal, so that we can
Yeah.
not do this to ourselves or to our kids. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
So, how old's the kid that he
I,
adopted?
I would
Or
guess 10, 11.
oh, see, yeah, I just don't
It's too
believe,
young.
and there's an influence from adults saying that my kids are trans. I see it all the time. But first off, it's a very personal transitioning is personal. Why are you putting your 10-year-old on the internet? Like, no, what about if they change their mind at 15? They're gonna be completely embarrassed and freaked out and mad at you. Like, it's irresponsible
It's
parenting.
irresponsible. Absolutely,
I have a
absolutely.
kid. I have a kid who's just a kid, right? Just a dude, like, has long hair. Sometimes I may think he's a girl. He's like, "I'm a boy." But that being said, I would even if I post pictures of him, which I do, I always put a clown face over his face. Like, I would never show his face. I always say, "Is it cool if I post this dude? We're
Mhm,
at the concert." I'm like, "Can I post this having fun?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, get his sort of permission,
mhm.
but not I very rare, my point being is, why are you, as a parent, like, exposing your trans kid? That I just have questions about
Yeah,
trans
yeah, and I
kids.
think where I am, we are a safe haven or something like that, so people are moving from other places to come
Oh,
here so that their kid
same
can
here,
transition, yeah,
same here, same
yeah.
here. I'm not even cool with that. That just feels
No.
creepy and weird, and
When did you learn to stand up for your beliefs, and, like, what helped you
yeah.
know how to push back and yeah, I'm
You
curious.
know, before I got into all of this, I was in the
Oh,
pornography
right.
business,
Yeah.
right? And so I started there like 20 something years ago. And I think that really gave me big balls. Because holy crap, my
Yeah.
friend, people came at the trans man community, came after me. You don't represent a. I'm like, where did I ever say a It's Buck Angel, the man with the la la. So you
Right.
know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
never said trans for like, I
You were
never
so
did it.
smart to use that. I think it probably gave you such
Marketing.
yeah, marketing.
All marketing, that's all porn is. But that being said, I did grow big ones, and people came at me, and I almost quit. And I'll never forget my partner at the time said, "If you quit, they win." And I was like,
Yeah.
You're so right." And it was just like wham. I was like, "Really? Let's do it." And
Okay.
it just my whole career really blew up in
Damn.
that
Oh,
business,
that's
and then
inspiring.
I grew thick skin from that. That's why people can't you can't cancel me, and you can't cancel her, just
Yeah.
so you know. That's all here, my friend. Nobody can cancel you, and
Yeah.
you won't. The universe will take care of you. I really trust in my own self, and I trust that the universe has an actual reason I'm here, because I do believe people have purpose here. Then I will completely be a success, whatever that means. And not having fear is so powerful,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 I see you growing in that. I do, even since the minute we started the conversation.
Yeah.
I do think that you see that you can't let other people tell you how to live your life, and
Right.
no matter what. I know you have a business, and I get it, and I was fearful. I knew I was gonna lose it. I knew I was gonna lose sales. I knew it, but I realized that there has to be I can't sit and not say something about kids. I just
Mhm.
as a dad, and I just can't. It just and as a transsexual, I'm like, "What?" Now they're saying 2-year-olds are trans. Like, what?
In a lot of cultures, anybody under 7 is still connected to spirit. So they, you know, they're not even fully here. They're
No.
still in between. And yeah.
No. No, no, no. I don't care what you say. That child doesn't know anything. And also, if you don't go through puberty, how do you know you're trans? Puberty is sort of like this space where you start to understand boy and girl.
Mhm.
So I don't believe a 5-year-old's like, I feel like a boy. Of course they want to be like a boy, like whatever that even means, right? But puberty is a very specific thing that everyone has to go through, my
Right,
friend. I don't
right.
care who or what you are. That is literally human growth. And how dare we destroy children's like sexuality. They go sterile. I mean, this
Mhm.
is real. I'm not just saying this. I have done a lot of research on this, and I hate medicine. I hate that I have to shoot testosterone, but I have to because if I don't, I really do feel a imbalance in my body. It's
Have you tried different types of testosterone? Like,
tried it
yeah,
all. I went
tried it all?
homeopathic, I did all of it. The only thing that tends to work, and I'm sure I'm cutting my life short. I don't doubt
Oh, yeah.
that in any way, shape, or form. But for me, it was about quality
Mhm.
over quantity,
Yeah.
and
And you gotta live your life. I mean, life is meant to be lived,
that's
so
why I
you
keep
decide what
saying
works for you. Yeah.
testosterone isn't just easy. Like, it's an actual foreign substance in our body, and we're giving it out like candy. They would give it
Yeah.
to you in 2 seconds right now, my friend.
Oh,
If you said, "I'm trans," here you go.
yeah. And I would be much handsomer as a guy, I think. My I have 3 brothers, and they're all, like, model level hot.
Dude, you're handsome. What are you talking about? You're gonna be
You should
like
see my
Brad Pitt.
brothers. My brothers are way more handsome.
Wow, you look
Well,
amazing,
thank
and
you. You're kind.
I no, I mean, I'm just saying for reals, and I do think that, whatever your path is, I think that you exposing yourself to the world as a woman who looks
Yeah.
like that is so powerful, more than ever. I can't even imagine. I can't think of any more in this time that I've been on this earth that your presence is so important. I'm not
You got me
kidding. I'm not
goosebumps.
kidding. I'm not kidding. There are young people out there who are questioning things, and we don't have a lot of, I'm friends with a couple other butch women who are so powerful and outspoken. And I think that, they also are having a lot of young
You know,
people.
it's so interesting because as women, we're taught to be, demure or make people comfortable.
That's right.
And I make people uncomfortable all the time, and that's very it's not something that I enjoy inherently, but I'm learning to, like, be
Take
okay with
it.
it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
and
But
that's
because
and,
why? Why do you think they're uncomfortable?
they don't know what category to put me in. They don't know how to treat me. They
That's
don't
right.
know how to, should can I hold the door open for them or not? Whatever the case may be. And I tend to be completely oblivious. Plus, people stare at me a lot.
Oh god.
My wife just wants to beat them up, but I don't notice it most of the time.
That's so no, but being stared at is a compliment. I don't care
Right.
what anybody
It's a
says.
power.
That's
I
right.
have a power, and
You
it's
do.
a it, it's not always easy or comfortable. And not, I'm pretty introverted, and I don't love the attention, and I don't really
Okay.
like lots of
Yeah.
engagement with people, especially
Yeah.
superficially. But
Yeah. Yeah.
recognizing it's helpful to hear that from you too, because I'm able to embody that a bit more even in this moment. So thank you.
Right on. No, it's real. They're staring at you and saying things. There's a reason that you're attracting it. I don't think it's just your looks. It's got to be your energy
Mm,
as well. And
hmm
then people are just kind of because I remember when I was a butch woman, I was very androgynous too.
hmm
And then
hmm
people would just be like, "Are you a boy or a girl?"
hmm
And I'm just like, "What? Like, who cares?"
Who
Like people.
cares?
It's always
Yeah,
been like that though. We've always had to be these rigid. You're the one who's breaking the binary, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
You are not people who are that's why I'm telling you these kids are gender nonconforming. They're not trans. They're
Right.
gender
They're gender
nonconforming kids
nonconforming.
like you.
Yes.
That's
Yes, and I
right.
think in some ways we're all gender nonconforming. It doesn't matter if
That's
it's,
right.
the
Brilliant.
stereotypical straight person who does all of the, football and whatever. They
Yeah,
still have part of themselves that's soft and vulnerable and needs to be
that's right.
nurtured and needs, they go home and they're the little spoon, I'm sure. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. No way. And that's what I keep trying to teach. When asking me what does it mean to be a man? How the heck do I know what it means to be a man? I know what it means to be buck, and I know what it
Yeah.
means to look this way and feel comfortable this way. But don't ever ask me because we don't know. You can't say that. Like, well, what do you mean you're a man? I said, well, no, I'm not a man. I want to be a man. Okay, and I want my presence in the world to look like a man, but I am not a man, and I will never
Yeah.
say that. I'm not. I'm a biological female who feels more comfortable being called a man, right? Or being looked at this way. It's real simple. But now these trans activists have made it so twisted.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a lot of male privilege because I get treated like a
That's
man a
right.
lot,
Of course.
and,
Of
I mean,
course.
I don't mind, but at the same time, it's unfortunate because I know a lot of, women or non-binary people who would really like to be treated the way that I naturally
Hmm.
get treated, and
Hmm.
they won't be unless they transition because of our
Hmm.
society's
That's right.
understanding of what gender is, and it's really
That's right.
unfortunate, um,
It
how
is
that
unfortunate,
works.
but it's up to us to change that.
That's right.
It's
We're not
why I
changed.
not change us, but change the system, and it's why I
Yes.
keep telling everybody, I did it 30 years ago. Now, if I was today, would I have done it? I don't know. I
Yeah.
could tell you right now, I don't know. If it would have been a better situation for me that I could be just like you, I might have done it, but so I can't go backwards. The only thing I can
Yes.
do now is go forward. So
And I
that's
don't
why
think I could have been me without people prior to me having,
that's right.
broken through other barriers.
That's
Uh,
right. We need to
oh gosh,
break the barriers.
yes, and I do think that that's what trans and non-binary people are trying to do.
That's right.
But for me, and you just said it in a way of wanting to change society. I really believe that we can only change society when we change ourselves, and so that
That's
if
right.
I can not give a flying fuck what somebody else is doing,
That's right.
then that will change their behavior.
Yes.
It's my confidence in my,
Yes.
not that I don't care. I mean, there's a great book out there. What is it called? Something about having no fucks to give, but I
Oh,
don't know if
no, I
that'll
think
get
I know. I think it's called "I Give No Fucks" or something like
yeah,
that.
something
I
like
think
that.
that's what it is. Yeah.
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 And that's, I think that that's a really great book that kind of, I'm huge into personal growth and all of
Me
those sorts
too.
of things. So
Me too.
yeah.
Me too. Well, because again, you have to take responsibility for yourself. It's not fault of the world that things are happening. There you've so and also you have so many more opportunities, honestly, than I ever had, people.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. Like, let's just say this. If you take some time with yourself before you make the leap, that's all I ever ask of this whole situation. Just take some time. Don't
Yeah.
just say you're trans. And it's not that you've got to find out
Yeah.
what's going on with you, that you feel like you need to look like a man and walk the world as a man. I
Yeah.
think, we've stopped critical thinking, looking deep into ourselves, no
And that
responsibility.
impatience, people
Oh
think, "Oh,
God.
I've been doing this I've been thinking about this for 6 months." That's nothing. That's nothing. Please
6
spend at
months.
least a year, if not 5.
Please. But, it's because everything is like this, the
Yeah.
phone, everything, the more you gotta put up content, and it's just like everything is fast paced.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're such a beautiful human
Oh,
friend,
thank you,
and
Buck.
I
You are too. I
really
appreciate.
do. I just think of you as my friend now, and I really
Yay.
value that you reached out to me and that you really wanted to have this. I think I'll probably have you back if that's gonna
Oh,
work
yeah,
out. You're
thanks for
gonna get.
making this happen.
I
I
think
was
people will love you. I just,
Oh,
it just says a lot to me that you're willing to put yourself out there and have these conversations, and people
thanks.
can see other sides to all of our community, and we're not all on board with the radical people that are doing weird stuff.
Yeah, yeah, let's learn to
Weirdos.
love ourselves and not hurt ourselves.
It's about you, right?
Mhm,
It's totally
mhm.
about you. So, before we go, is there anything you wanna say, or, I guess you don't
I
wanna
know, I
plug it.
think we've done a lot of fun little traipsing around.
Sweet. Sweet, my friend, sweet.
Yes.
So, you're awesome, Dana. Please leave Dana beautiful messages like you guys always do. I do appreciate that, and whatever information you want me to put, maybe not, we'll see how that works out
Yeah, I
for
might
you.
wait
Yeah.
and just see
Yeah.
how it goes,
Yeah,
and
you can always just put it in the comments, and then, she'll read the comments, and then we'll
okay,
figure it
yeah,
out, and if you
yeah.
wanna see her again and maybe have a more in-depth conversation,
Yeah, right now I'm
we
just
can do
dipping my
that.
toe in the water. If you guys do a good job
That's
here
the
responding, I'm
start.
just
That's the start, friend, right there. Next will be your foot.
Yep, I just move
Right
it
on.
slowly like
It's all good. Nope, you showed up, and that to me, that's powerful. So, thanks everybody. Remember,
Thank
like,
you.
subscribe, comments, leave Jenny some awesome love there, and then I'll see you all next weekend at the live. So, thanks very much.
I appreciate you,
Bye.
Buck.